All right. It is us.
Okay, well, then it is. Hopefully others will join us. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring our city council work session to order. It is March 11th, 2024. And I think we'll just go ahead and dive in and hopefully others will join us shortly. So first up on the agenda is previous work session action items. First one is short-term rentals.
And this, I think, is now to committee. So I just put it there to
Remind us to set up a
committee.
Okay.
What's a short-term rental?
Under 30 days.
It's like Airbnbs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically you're gonna cap it, space them out. That kind of thing. Zoning, or you're gonna make a zoning change.
Yeah, currently there's nothing in the land use codes that allows it for in the residential areas. And so do we, we want to have some rules in place so people are
I'm up there, is that the only one in the city?
currently,
Currently.
there's some people that are interested in doing it, but basically the current rules don't allow it. And so they would have to go through planning and everything like that to get some sort of conditional use or variance. And so we're talking about possibly changing it to where they're allowed with, with rules and stuff that kind of guide it.
And protect people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gotta add rules.
So on a separate note, we have, our service processor was failed.
Yeah.
So the second part of that is.
You said you had to post it or something?
We did, but we had to go to the judge, who had to agree that we did everything in our power to do so. And
Right.
today we got the word from the
Okay.
judge that we are to post the complaint at 980 Commercial and at City Hall.
Okay,
And so City Hall's been done, and tomorrow I will brief our public works staff on what I want to put up there. We assume it will probably be taken down at some point. The
Right.
second one, I will probably request just a car support, deputy support, while we repost it a second time.
okay,
So that's where we're at, as of hot off the press.
okay, very exciting. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Counselor Cuthbertson is en route and Counselor Linder will not be able to join us this evening. So
Would you like to, with your permission, how about doing C, D, and E, and then go to library IGA, circle back, and maybe Counselor Cuthbertson can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Join, if that's okay with you.
That's totally
That
fine
works.
with me. Let's go for it. So City Hall next steps.
So we've talked about library and other options. I have had a discussion with Branch Engineering on City Hall, and I would like to bring them out. It'll probably be a paid consulting, but a few $100s worth of consulting. They believe there might be other options for us to shore up parts of that to meet what we're after. And if that is the case, that would be staff's preferable option.
Those would be like seismic improvements of some sort.
Basically putting in shear walls, interior shear walls to support the roof in case the terracotta brick failed.
And that's the preferred option.
The staff would be the
Stay.
preferred option
With
simply
what you're
because of our traffic, what we have to keep secure. As an example, we had a leads audit today because we don't have we're not online with leads yet. I did make a provision in the back and we're drywalling right now. I got the framing up, but we kind of stopped. But part of that is a secure server room. And inside there has to be the LEDs record. So any court records need to be in there with a kind of an audited,
Yeah.
like a trilogy audited block, that type of
Yeah.
thing to keep. But that's a requirement. Right now, we're doing this okay, but they want to see in their audit, they want to see us move into that direction. So that's next steps. I just let you know that I am
Okay.
going to talk to an engineer just to make sure that, let them tell us
If it's an option or
if
not.
it's an option or it's just.
So we got sewer rates next.
And that's just because we had it, we're gonna deal with that during budget.
Right.
So taking it off this list and putting it onto the budget list.
Okay.
Next item is land use code updates.
So we know that the entire, our codes need to be updated. I am applying for a grant to help us with that. One of the first things, though, that I'd like to do is work with the planning commission we've been talking about type 1 decisions. So these are decisions that can be made administratively by the city administrator, but the city planner official, as we call it, the city planner official, whoever that might be. And these are basically things that, for instance, a good example, say someone says, gee, I'd like to put an accessory structure. And so that's great. If it's under 200 square feet, you can put one without any permits. You can set up against your fence as long as no part of the building projects over the property lines. Go for it. Have fun. Go for it. Something larger than that, then you would need, if it meets the setbacks and everything else, that could be a type 1 decision. If it doesn't meet the setbacks, it needs to go to planning too, because any variances and conditional use have to go that direction, which is fine. But a lot of things that come to that people want to do not need to go to the planning commission. And the planning commission has also said, you don't want to be hearing everybody's,
Little thing that they
Little
want to
thing
do.
that
I
they
want to
want.
put a new shower head in. Can I come down and?
And we get those.
Alrighty.
And I get those. So reviewing and updating what a type 1 decision, that would be an ordinance change, because the land use code is an ordinance. It's just how our ordinance says it says refer to the Monroe land use codes rather than, actually incorporate it. A lot of cities actually incorporate their land use codes within their codified ordinances. We reference it to a separate book. So that's one of the key things that I'd like to get done sooner than later. And that it's just something we've talked about as something that will streamline operations. Again, it's not making land use decisions. It's basically saying, do you fit what's permitted? If it's in black and white, it's permitted, your setbacks are fine, you've given me the stuff, then that's an easy decision rather than
And it frees up the planning commission
planning
to deal
commission
with.
to deal with
bigger
things that
things.
were coming. If you noticed that today, the mayor said, hey, there's someone's putting stakes out. Well, when I drove by, yeah, they divided our developer, Brownstone Development, which has delineated the commercial side of the Loving property between Mill Street and Oak Street. They delineated the commercial section from the light industrial, and they'll be coming to the planning commission to take that light industrial and turn it into residences. So that means streets, just basically another Red Hills development, essentially. So those, as all of you who were involved in it know, that it takes a lot of time and process to get it through. At the moment, I am beginning to start Mr. Brian Oak's property. That's the one by Harry Myers. Okay, so that one is, we just also went through that at commission. And so that one will be complex only because of the number of different properties that this thing is surrounded by. So we'll have to put our attention to that. So I'm trying to be proactive and with some of these early changes and get the planning commission so that they can work on some of these really big things that are coming down. It looks like people are wanting to develop in Monroe. So
Do they know about the 6th Street, how it kind of narrows down to a cone?
from 33 feet up at the top down to 13 feet at the bottom.
Yeah, I think we looked at it
Right, and we did look at it.
at the last council meeting. I think.
So what he's going to probably need to do is pick up a little bit of his property to make sure that the access road going down there meets fire standards. And also at our easement at the end, where we have our sewer pipes, that's where this slough is. We have a sewer pipe coming across. That is where I want to keep vacant. He has enough room to put his 5 lots, but that part needs to be kept vacant so that it can be used as a turnaround or access on that site, plus not building over our sewer pipes.
Right.
Where is this again?
Okay, this is. Do our fingers do the walking?
Yeah, I'm visual.
Yes, that's,
Oh,
I
yes.
completely understand. This is,
That's totally.
we do this at planning and everything all the time. It's not bad. It's kind of fun seeing what Google lists as all of our different resources here. Okay. And I do not like, I don't know what they did with this latest satellite figure. It's like they went back 20 years back into the Cold War and blurred everything. And maybe they're doing that for a reason, I don't know. Okay, so this is the fertilizer place, Dollar General, Long Timber. And so this is Councilor Meyer's house right here. This property right in here, this vacant lot.
And that's the one where he's, I don't know if he's been granted permitting, but he just wants to do like multi-unit homes,
Right,
right?
he wants to basically, this is currently zoned GRA, which is low density residential. He basically wants to do a GRB development, which would be 5,500 square foot lots. And he has enough room to put 5 of them in here. This strip, and it's hard to look at, but this strip right here, this is a 6th Street easement.
Right.
And it basically starts at about 33 feet here, but it comes down at an angle to about, it comes down to an angle about 13 feet down here.
Okay.
It's weird. It's only because whoever put the Pacific Edition 2 in here, put it at an angle to the plots down here, the original plots down here.
Right.
I
Couldn't just be a grid.
Is that Depot Street actually that is actually a street there?
it is not a street. It's
Because,
listed as that.
yeah, it
because-
looks like it's an easement on their property that goes
So-
through the,
So what has happened, yes, and this, there was a mobile home here, right? You can see the space right here for it,
Mhm.
a manufactured home. I don't think. Yeah, so there was a manufactured home here up until about 1985. And so the street actually comes here, even though it loops, there are 2 pieces of property right here and here, and it's maybe a little easier to go to.
Oh, the tax lot.
Benton County tax lots.
Yeah.
To show the actual, okay. So here's the same property right here we're looking at. Depot Street now has an easement on it. And the easements between Brian Oaks and Dundee Monroe, we made it also a condition to convey access. Their conditional use will be that while you're granting access, and that's great, once the property's sold, it reverts to the city of Monroe. It'll become a city of Monroe responsible street.
Okay.
At that point. And if he wishes to make it responsible beforehand, he can certainly talk to us about that, but that really, it will again become Depot Street officially.
Okay.
So you can see this is Councilor Meyer's house. These 2 pieces here he owns. And so Mr. Bounds would be basically, excuse me, Mr. Oaks, be basically putting his lots in this direction here. So what we're gonna ask him to do is keep this section down here open. There is a sewer pipe. It's right in here, actually right there. Right above the thaw wake of the slough. This is the slough right here.
Oh, yeah, and you said that that backyard is ours, right?
Right, and of course, this is another
Another,
another issue for another time, I guess, but we own their backyard all the way up to their house. So we'll need to do some negotiating with that. More than likely, what'll happen is we'll probably look at something where we
Where
have to
they'll-
keep an easement in this area.
yeah, and they've been using it, so I would assume it's a hard, I mean, other than eminent domain, I mean, there's,
Well, yeah, they can't claim use because they've had it.
Yeah.
Because we're a city, but we can certainly negotiate with them, either some sort of buyback or whatever the council wishes to do.
Title company should have thought that.
yeah,
And actually, that's where we're going with it, it's the title company. And the buyback would be from the title company. So.
that's what title insurance is for.
That's what title insurance, is. Someone should have caught that. So down here, this is, the distance between my pointer here is 13.3 feet down here. And up here, at this point is 33 feet.
So one more thing, I know we have a grant out for the path.
Yes,
Where's that path gonna start?
starts here at Kelly Street, right here,
So that
goes all.
that
behind the
easement access road creates complication with the path.
building. No,
Because you have
what
to,
there is, in
you have
City
to create
Hall-
some sort of crossing or something.
Sure, and if you want to see this was thought of originally when this was done, and inside City Hall, on the left, you see a bunch of nice little watercolors. Those are all the crossings for this path.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it was all thought of and dealt with when it was originally.
okay.
Anyway, that's work, that is the big one that's coming up next.
Okay.
The one that we just approved was putting in a 4-unit in this vacant property here. This will be tied in with this property, Mr. Bounds, Jesse Bounds owns both of these. And they'll be tying the parking lot structures and things together here to give enough spaces and also deal with the storm drainage that's in here. Also, they're gonna be improving this whole section of the street right here. And we are gonna be putting storm drain facilities either in front or in back. We need to wait to see what the topography is for that. This area collects a huge amount of water coming down off the hill. It's coming down off of the hill at kind of an angle here. And so these backyards tend to accumulate a huge amount of water. So we'll deal with that at the same time, but SDCs will be taking care of the storm drainage.
Okay.
So back to the land use code updates, you can see the commission is going to be extraordinarily busy.
Mhm.
And I think that this is just the tip of more land use development
come,
over the
yeah.
next 3 or 4 years that's going to occur.
Councilor Myers.
No, since they put those houses in on 8th Street, 9th Street, 10th Street, and the improvements they've made there, which doesn't look like much, but the water off the hill has dropped significantly.
I would agree with you. Yeah,
My dad's noticed it, so they've got that manufactured home right there. The ditch usually flows, and it doesn't flow like it used to.
right, they're diverting it correctly, and I'm pleased. I mean, I think that if you, with just a little bit of engineering, you can do a lot to divert the water. We're dealing with that also right here. So this is part of Pacific Northwest Development property here, but we have actually a wetlands area, designated wetlands, right where that 43 is, right there, which is this person's property. We have a drain here, you can see it in the, that's a culvert. It drains across the road to this slough, which I'll zoom out because we see it better, but it drains down this way, down here, behind Dykstra's property and out this direction. We have another one coming down off the hill this way, or excuse me, this way, down here and out here, and another one coming this way. You can see this actually has the blue line that comes down along our property easement here. This one's going to have to be diverted. This particular wetlands delineation, if they ever decide to build here. But here up in this corner, we're looking at Benton County completing the ditch coming across to here. This is actually a ditch right here. There's no ditch here. It looks like there was one here at one time, and whoever had built this out ages and ages ago filled in the ditch, which now is diverting the water back behind their house. And so their contractor is putting in a drain between here, which is the low point. This property slopes here and slopes there. It all slopes to this junction right here. So the contractor is going to divert it and put it into our storm drain at this point, which hopefully will keep a lot of water out of the backyard. So that's another little project that we've been.
How did the county not catch
that? Is that a trick question?
We probably didn't pay for that. I'm sorry.
One of the county folks, BJ, with Mark, and they looked at it. I think he kind of mentioned the same thing. Well, there should have been some here. So
A lot of the times the county deferred to the city of Monroe administration that had been here in the past.
They
And
refer back to the county. so-
no, they didn't defer back to county. They just did what they wanted.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
So
I hear you.
someone knew someone and they were like, just do it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So what I did here was I gave you both the land code update and new discussion planning updates.
All right.
It's a twofer.
Okay, so we'll circle back to the library IGA then.
So, library update. A little attachment here is the actual intergovernmental agreement. That's the city of Dallas and the county. What you have is kind of the library director's first cut, and you can see there's a few comments and a few line outs, but for the most part, it is what it is for the moment. Just say, my job, I kind of, you, just ask a lot of questions and listen during the first phases, so I can understand what it is, who I'm talking with, and really what are the concerns? Because from my viewpoint, if you read the IGA, it still talks about a building that at the time this IGA was built, was written, this building didn't even, the building didn't exist. So they wrote the IGA before the library even was finished. So you see references to the county and the South Benton.
Well, I'm sure it's probably it needed to have this to move forward with the grants and stuff like that.
Probably did. I would say that they probably didn't, but they wanted to establish when they built this. I think it's very clear to me, talking, that was very clear that the city of Corvallis, Benton County, and the South Benton community enhancement, the support group outside the community, wanted to codify something up front before the building was built, so that the city of Monroe, which I understand was back and forth on whether we wanted to have a library of that magnitude, would make sure that was being taken care of and supported and all that. And that's, and I've heard that enough in my time here, plus I'm hearing it from the library director that she's being very, very careful to keep the alliances with the South Benton and support people, other individuals in the loop, and very important to us, because at this point, after 5 years, for the first 5 years, according to the grant, we can't, the city, it's our building, but the city can't do anything with it. It is a library, the entire building, don't touch it. Otherwise, you pay back the grant. After 5 years, it is our building, and we can do as we please with it. It could be a library, it could be city hall, it could be rented out, it could be anything the city deems necessary for it. Now, I haven't heard anyone say we want it for anything different than a library, but Corvallis and Benton County are moderately interested in why we chose to ask that the IGA be modified or canceled in its entirety. That did pique interest at all levels of Benton County and all levels of Corvallis, as I can. So the library director right now also has a very important piece that I've learned, is that she is a superb fundraiser, and I think very much so hired to be a superb fundraiser. So she may be the director of libraries, but she generates a huge amount of donations and support. So I don't get exactly one of the functions. So I can see that by making sure that those individuals that are not necessarily citizens of Monroe are included in this as a community library, that that will help and enhance her fundraising efforts with individuals. So I do understand, without it being explicitly said, I do understand that. So I can understand why she might be a little reticent in changing some of the language and the conditions. I do believe, however, that it is the city of Monroe's building, and I think that needs to be reflected in any IGA in a government agreement, that there is a facilities now at 380 North Fifth Street. And it was intended to be a library, regardless of who built it, or, decided they wanted it built. That we're now down to the nitty gritty of who's going to provide library services for that. At the moment, it's City of Corvallis through Benton County. That's what it is at the moment. And the second part of it is that if it is in fact our building, we are, as this IGA explicitly says, we're responsible for the maintenance of it, all aspects of maintenance, and they've also decided that we're also involved in the janitorial pieces to it. So we're also responsible for cleaning things up and all that. Although we've been talking about scheduling, room scheduling, and that type of thing up to this point, and the current IGA, it is in fact the Corvallis librarians to schedule all activity in the library. So that they have control over that. We may charge money, we can set up our own policies and all that, but at the moment, they're not really being followed by Corvallis staff because they believe they don't have to. So again, that's prompted our IGA, revisions of the IGA. So,
So me try not to step in it with my foot in two camps. As I'm reading this here, it states that the library staff shall manage meeting room reservations, and then the charging, but they get to decide who can meet where, and they can be affiliates of and whatnot. I'm aware of certain talks for a certain group to use that facility. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that happening, but I know that they're talking to the library and it hasn't necessarily been brought to the city. And if they go through the library under this agreement, it sounds like they could use that facility, which, like I said, I don't necessarily have a problem, but I can see it being something that could potentially be very messy and a lot of wear and tear on the building.
And it is.
And if the city of Monroe is the one that's in charge of that, then I have certain concerns about how that gets handled, because anybody that goes through the library for community purposes, according to this agreement, doesn't get charged. They can use it, it's free to them. I believe is what it says in there.
Yes.
And so there's no way for the city of Monroe to recoup wear and tear on the building or money for janitorial or cleanup if if it's not cleaned up properly, we don't have an agreement with them. There's no insurance coverage that we know of because it's an agreement made through them and there's no money exchanging hands.
That is correct. And
So,
you have Corvallis Fire Department coming down here having meetings that we don't know about. We had and I'm not saying that that's bad, or we had a big movie night. And the only reason why we knew about it is because city staff who have kids in school got the flyers. So we knew they had movie night there on the 20th, and then an all-day event on the 29th. And we had no clue that those events were going on and who was going to ensure that it was cleaned up and everything afterwards. So that has been an ongoing and continuous issue with the library. What I said in our last meeting, which kind of precipitated this document, which I'm going to say is kind of the first foray into putting things into writing, was that no, the city of Monroe is responsible for all scheduling of rooms and all that. And I went as far as to say that we understand that there are certain activities that the library needs as part of its operations, such as an example, story time. You know, an important part of library outreach to the community. But those are typically scheduled on days of the week. They're on the calendar. There are regular events, and there is no reason why those regular events cannot be scheduled as part of library operations ahead of time. I mean, a year in advance. You know, because they're regular recurring activities. So everything else, however, why the city of Monroe is subsidizing the city of Corvallis' fire department so they can have meetings down here, I don't understand that.
and I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with that, but as it gets broader and broader, and I know there's one coming down the pike that may end up getting shoved through because we've heard nothing about it except I happen to know. There's going to be things that are going to have higher impact on the building. And when you have things like that, if there's not insurance, if the paperwork's not done properly and whatnot, that just leaves a huge mess. And also if there's mess.
Well, and they aren't filling out the paperwork. We might get the money first and will never get the paperwork. They are skirting the entire process.
What does that do for our liability if there's people using the building, we own the building, they get hurt, there's no agreement out there whatsoever,
We get sued.
we get sued, I say kick them all out. Well, seriously, I mean, we shouldn't be paying for their lack of organization.
And that point has been brought up. to
I'll
the
go with
Corvallis
you
Library.
if you need me to go there.
Well, the other option is having an IGA where, you know, if they want to have control over that, then
They need
they
to
need to,
file the paperwork.
well, but they also need to
Take care of it.
take care of the upkeep and everything of the building.
Yeah.
Cause you could have a IGA where basically it's all on them. They can do what they want and they can schedule it and they can, but they're also responsible for insurance and all that stuff and
They have to hold us harmless or, you know, additionally insured. And if they don't do that, no functions. Period.
So.
We had that same problem with this building.
Yes, we did. And that's why they're no longer here. That's right. We paid for it, but they're no longer here. So that's the reason why this IG is before you. I think you're both Counselor Cuthbertson and Counselor Myers and Counselor Rich's points are exactly what we kind of bantered with in Corvallis in my meetings is, you know, we discussed breaking the building up into two parts. That was one idea. We can break it up and do it by square footage and equal, you know, charge by square footage your costs. You can say we can continue the same arrangements, but make sure that, you know, no, you aren't going to use the rooms unless you have scheduled ahead of time. And that is part of the agreement with us. And anyone else has to come through on our terms to us. Or you can also say, you know what, that is a library, it's a library function. City of Corvallis have at it, but you know, you're gonna get a water bill. Electricity is gonna be in your name. all janitorial will be yours. Any maintenance that's caused by your neglect or damage we will charge you for that. The city, however, is still responsible for the maintenance of it. So those are kind of all different options that I'm at the point of looking at. So I'm talking with you now as to kind of direction that you would like to see in the IGA as we move forward. And once, you probably would also like to know that when you read the IGA, that they are supposed to do annual reports. Huh, she says, I didn't know that was in there. Okay, so cue the eye roll. But she will be here. I invited her to council for April to give her annual report.
Okay.
And I think that this also is an opportunity to ask questions. I am not terribly interested from a negotiating viewpoint in finishing this up quickly. I think there's more value to passing at the last minute in June. So.
Well, there was something that you and I, Steve, we talked about earlier at the library as well, because we have a couple items that have
Yes.
been donated to the city. And in this agreement, it's rather vague about if something is donated to the city to be used at the library or to be on display at the library, does it become, the property of the city of Corvallis? Or is it the city of Monroe's?
Right, because as you may be aware, the mayor's family donated a very nice desk, railroad desk, a pneumatic railroad desk. And it will look really cool down at the south portion of the main lobby with a nice wall there for really a historical legacy of railroading and how important it was to Monroe. But the way I read the language, the librarians can easily snatch all that up and auction it off to help the.
Need to adjust that as well.
I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done on it. And also, if they're gonna have their own, events and stuff, that's fine, but we need to have some sort of certificate of insurance as well, or whatever, if we're the ones doing it.
Right.
Well, we have to pass through any janitorial costs associated with those events.
Yeah, so, because I'm just concerned, because I already know some of this stuff is coming, and it could be within the next couple months, and it would be something that was ongoing, and I just, all of a sudden, I just was nervous. And I'm not saying that I don't want events to happen or that I don't want things to happen there. I just want to make sure that we're covered, because as a city right now, we can't really incur a lot of cost for damage or cleaning or whatever. And that's why we talked about having fees for our different areas so that we can start recouping that, so that we can eventually be able to build for our community instead of being so far behind.
Well, it feels like to me that the easiest would be, let the, we want to have a library, but, and they want to have control over all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, why not just have a more, a more IGA that's more fully where they're responsible for,
So what we're
what's
really
going on
talking
over
about,
there?
and it's a lease.
And it's basically,
It's
yeah,
a lease.
exactly.
What we do is we lease, what we do is we lease the building either to Benton County.
Mhm.
Okay, who is actually the ones that are providing, even though it's just cleverly worded, it is really Benton County who is responsible for the library district and services and have contracted with the city of Corvallis to provide the services. So basically, we lease it to Benton County with the option to sublease to whoever contractor they wish to provide library services. And the lease then has the same leasehold agreements that you would have with any leaseor, leasing, or lessor leasing arrangement. And that covers the building, who's responsible for what, and it doesn't take us off the hook necessarily for the maintenance of it, but it also gives the Library Legacy Foundation no reason to back off or to say, well, if you're only gonna fund, if you're gonna say that 50% of the buildings under your control and 50%, we're only gonna provide 50% of the monies to the library that our donors wanted to donate to. So that particular arrangement, but I also, that's why I'm talking to you, is what direction as a council do you want me to pursue? I mean, I can go down to each line and cross out things and change it to language that is more
Well,
appropriate.
I feel like the more cost, basically, if they want to have more control over it, the more cost we can push their way to give them that control. Gets us off the hook for some of it, which, because that's been one of the struggles, is basically, we just don't have.
Well, if we provide janitorial, even if they lease it, I would make sure that we have a
Yeah,
chargeback on it,
well, and I wouldn't do
a pass through.
janitorial, I would
No,
say
but-
that that's part of
But that would,
operations of their,
Yeah, it's, if they have it, they're completely
they're
responsible.
completely, they could contract to us to do janitorial, but they
but we don't
would
have
get some
staff,
money.
we don't have staff to,
I'm talking about hiring staff.
oh,
I was gonna say, the other bigger picture on that is not just the cleanup, but also the insurance and liability.
Right.
That would be- To me, that seems like the really huge thing, because you don't know who you're getting in there and what they're doing and who's minding it and who's running it. And if it's city property, city's liable. So if we don't know what's going on and we don't know that the proper insurance is taken care of and stuff, then we're on the hook, and that's.
Well, that's what the lease would do. The lease would require the leasee to provide us as additional insured and no harmless
For the entire building,
for the entire building.
Yeah.
with the right of the lessor to inspections and that type of thing. We would still, like I said, we'd still be on the hook for the major maintenance. We can't get away from the HVAC,
Right.
replacing that, or, you know, the
For
big
any
things,
damage.
but they would be responsible for ensuring that the rest of the building is maintained in a. Now, what I will do then, because this is an excellent negotiating, so if I will present it that the city council has reviewed the IGA, and there was a strong discussion. I won't say consensus, just strong discussion. This is a work session. I can't, right? No decision was made, but I said it was very strongly suggested that we enter into a lessor leasing arrangement with Benton County, who is providing the pass-through. They could sublease with language to sublease it to you. And that would give you the building and right to use it per the lease. And however, leases are, you know, it's basically their building with, under our terms, and when they're done with it, it comes back to us. Rather, part of our little, you know, group, so remember, they get control, I mean, within the subject of the lease, so that's the purpose of the lease. So if the city thinks that it wants that building in its entirety for something,
or if you want to use it for something else.
or use it for something else, that would be the other issue. However, I'm gonna say that they'll balk at that, but they would also probably be more willing to come back and have terms that are more along the lines of what we want, which is basically you need to pay for the janitorial costs. I mean, we can still give them through an IGA control of the building. It's just that they need to pay for it, and they can schedule and do what they wish in that respect. We can keep the same thing. They just need to pay for the janitorial. And make sure that all maintenance and insurance is upkept, because right now, we are completely on the hook for that.
Yeah.
That they can basically, at the moment, the librarians can do anything they want and schedule anything they want. And we are responsible for cleaning up, responsible for any damage, responsible for the whole 9 yards. There's nothing in this agreement that says.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because.
It is crazy.
Mhm.
Why would you, I won't say.
Yeah,
Shut up this point.
that question,
Yeah, Councilor Myers can probably answer that.
that question was brought up as soon as the person that signed it, and I won't say her name.
Okay, there you go.
It's like, did you read this?
Did you just? All right, so I'm gonna lead with that. That's an excellent negotiating place. I will lead with that. There will be pushback on it, and then I will use that to move through what we just said, is that the cost of operations really is a city of Corvallis issue. It's not a city of Monroe issue.
Yeah.
Maintenance, yes, we completely understand it's our building, but this is really more of a lessor leasing arrangement than it is an IGA. We agree that you're gonna provide services, that's what's intended to be, but you need to be accountable.
Yeah, if we
for
have
your
no
use.
control over anything there, then, you know, that, why are we responsible for X, Y, and Z costs that are part of your operations?
And as I pointed out, I said, this is what I led with.
If
is
you
that,
make
you
the
know,
mess, you clean it up and
right,
pay
you
for
clean
it.
it up. I said, we can shutter this place.
Yeah.
We could come in every 6 months and do, dusting and cleaning and checking on everything. But if it doesn't have any use, then it really doesn't,
It's not gonna accumulate.
it's not
wear.
gonna accumulate the wear and tear, and we don't have any liability, we don't have a lot of things.
Yeah.
So the cost is a lot less to the city if we do nothing with it.
Is there any income on this lease for us? Or intergovernmental leases are a little bit less?
Well, it would probably, since Benton County shrewdly gave us the pathway for the Gateway property for $1 for 99 years.
Yeah, I would say that probably.
Probably minimal with Benton County, however, we can write into it that what I think our main goal is. We love our library.
Mhm.
We love the fact of what they're doing. We understand it is the city of Monroe's building and therefore we're responsible for maintaining it. But we also understand that the wear and tear on it is not our responsibility. I mean, the day-to-day, the janitorial pieces of it.
Did they ever come back? I know that we've talked about this before, but did they ever come back with a usage, whether it was city of Monroe resident versus outside?
No, but in April she will.
So I've heard rumors that it was like 70-30.
Outside, inside, yes.
Yes.
I've heard 60-40, 70-30, I've heard 90%, I've heard all those, but I have not heard anyone say that the residents of Monroe utilize the building more than anyone else. I mean, this truly is a community resource.
Yeah.
And there is a special the tax district for this. Everyone in the tax district, including myself and Corvallis and all of you here, pay into it. If you're in Benton County, you pay. However, that dollar amount has not been raised in like 5 years. And so that was one option that she was looking at, was raising the district, raising that tax. Now that would have to go to the voters, et cetera.
And she'd probably blame us.
And yeah, that's part of it too. However, I did say we would, the first part of it was I would set a fee. We've talked about that. We'll just put a fee, but I said that's fundamentally unfair. She really she did not want us to do that. And I'm not surprised either. That's just part of my learning of what's motivating the conversation. Because that would also create a problem down the road with you folks that are paying, if they want to come for an increase, what are the feelings of the city of Monroe now? They're going to have heard the entire discussion. And I doubt that they're going to get some yes votes from down here. So it's, the library director's position is fundraising and very political. And so it's being approached from that viewpoint.
If she's so good at fundraising, she can find the money to.
And that was our last conversation. That was actually how we ended our conversation was, we could probably do some fundraising down there and split your costs. Can you give me some cost of the maintenance and all that? My thought is, no, I'm not going to be responsible for janitorial, but you may certainly fundraise to help support the library district and now C and Philomath and Monroe with that cost. And she came up with some other things. Why don't they turn the drivers into the kind of the ServPro staff that deliver books, and at the same time
They can come in and go clean up. Yeah.
at all 3 locations, because they have to send drivers to each 3 locations anyway.
Yeah, they're shipping books around all over the.
She's given me a lot of ideas of how they could solve the problem. Good. So recap, I will go in with the sublease thing. I think that'll scare the bejeebers out of everybody, or at least motivate. She is coming. Ashley Chavez, the librarian director, will be coming here in April to give her annual report. Good time for comments and questions as we progress. But I just wanted to get your feedback, and then then we'll move towards making sure that what I'm hearing is that they should be paying for the janitorial.
What's the real estate value of that property right now?
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, since you asked and we're here. Oh, goodness gracious, it's not as much as it used to be. Yeah, it's about $400, and they don't use very much water. Utilities are not a.
Well, you would think so, listening to some of these taxpayers in the city here.
3 million, huh? Wow, well.
So we could sell it to them.
Wow.
That dollar amount, 3,347,213 is exactly about what our budget is, including all of our reserves and everything else.
Probably gonna have to move.
So it is, let's refine. Yeah, it is a wonderful building, in all respects, and it needs to be taken care of. I mean, we really, regardless, it really does need to have some effort into it to take care of it. Of course, the question is who, and of course, the devil is always in the details.
And I'm pretty sure a government agency would only go with the assessed value, 1.6.
Yeah, but they would probably go just what they said, of course. That would be if it were free and clear and we could sell on the open market,
Right,
maybe.
maybe.
Yeah. I love the valuations, but of course, that's their way of getting taxes from everybody.
Yeah, I know. I always discount them.
Yeah, you have to.
Some dollar per mount per thousand.
It's interesting to know.
All right, I will go forth in our next session and take your wishes and thoughts with me as we continue down this road of,
We'll send our prayers with you
here
too.
we go.
So this covers City Hall next steps too, and we kind of segue into that.
Yeah, actually, we went through the city.
Oh, I missed that part, sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about getting
We
the,
saved the best for last for you there.
Well, the engineering folks are gonna come out, they have some ideas that we might be able to,
For our original building,
yeah, for our building there and put some shear walls inside, short things up.
okay.
I wanted to get their input. They thought that there were some solutions that didn't require tearing the building down, so.
Well, I mean, if we sold that for 3.3, we could
Oh,
build
well,
it
you could
again.
have one heck of a library, city hall for that, right?
Oh my gosh. Let's move on to new discussion. We got recommendations from the HR committee. Now, I know Councilor Linder's not here tonight. I know one of the recommendations was to hire a temp
Yes, and that was the,
for the office.
Yeah.
For the April, May, June timeframe.
right?
During budget season.
Okay, so this is a temp for the budget season?
It's a temp for the budget season and primarily, and but the other part of that is looking at what we call your full-time equivalents here, FTE. The city has typically has since 2018. The city had 3.5 FTE and a contractor. Okay, so the contractor's cost to the city was equivalent to a public works utility worker at that time. Okay, so I know that because I was the contractor. So as the city moved forward, it's always hovered around between 4 and 5 FTE. In the last year, we've had basically 3 FTE. So we're basically 1.5 FTE short. What I'm looking at this next season is for a 4.5, back to a 4.5 or 4.75. In 2018, I think at one point we got up to about a 5. After that was with Rick, we would have had a 5 something FTE. That was too much money. The city couldn't sustain that. But it can sustain around a 4.5, 4.75 FTE. And I just think as in HR as was discussed, the main reason is number one, a temp is a good way of evaluating somebody or evaluating the position without having to get into a quote marriage unquote with an employee. As my father-in-law used to say, it's easy to get into, terrible to get out of. And he was right.
Everybody hires as temps anymore.
So
Yep.
you can hire an accounting clerk, temp person, those are the easy folks to find. This would be a person that's gonna answer phones upfront, take payments, and relieve Dawn to do some of the heavy lifting, heavy lifting that always comes up during budget season, and particularly if we're gonna do a sewer rate study. That'll just allow us to do this and let me have time to do this planning that's now coming up on.
yeah, I think also we discussed that, your availability in the office is limited while you're in kind of a training period.
Yeah.
With
Luke.
with the new
Yeah.
public works person, so
So this.
also giving Dawn some backup so that she can focus
Well,
on the numbers.
and also
side.
take some, if her kids are sick.
Yeah.
Or needs to take time off, that's the part. We don't have, I now have some redundancy in utility, or will probably by this summer, but we have nothing upfront.
Yeah.
So is this, the actual plan is a higher temp looking at forward going forward?
I'm gonna look at the budget and
Okay.
I'm gonna present that to the budget committee as an ongoing thing, but for right now, because we did not hire until this month. And we did not hire another 30-hour position, we do have a little extra money to make this work without.
Okay.
And so we'll still have money
about April, May, June, basically, and then we'll reevaluate at the budget.
in the budget
Yeah.
committee. And that's the budget committee make a recommendation on how to proceed.
Has there been any thought of possibly looking at per diem office work? Or do we just go to a temp agency for that?
I typically,
Like an emergency, let's just say Dawn for some reason was unavailable,
Mhm.
you don't have this person on, what would we do?
well, if that's the case, I can do all her work.
Okay, but I mean,
But-
yeah, but you're still, like I said,
Right.
I still think we
That's the
should hire.
emergency thing. And so I think long-term is really is hiring.
Hiring,
Hiring
yeah, good,
somebody.
okay.
I really do.
I think even after you hire this someone, we should have somebody pre-vetted for per diem if we need them.
Okay,
I mean, I just think
no,
it's,
no,
it's a- it's not a cost, it's just,
if, the only other option is to close the city hall,
Right.
which we have
We've
done.
yeah, yeah.
And so most people are okay with that, but I think it's frustrating. I think if you have a city in the city hall and you're paying this stuff, your expectation is the city hall
Yeah.
should be open.
Well, and if you have two people in the office, you can also not have to close for lunch, and so people aren't,
Feeling like.
coming by, like,
The only
you have to
time
close the door
Right,
because.
the only
everyone
time
comes
they
in.
can't-
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that was the,
I believe that was the main,
Yeah,
recommendation.
those are the
Yeah.
main recommendations.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we'll have that brought up in next city council.
Okay,
Okay, planning updates, Steve, I think you already covered that earlier. Councilor Myers unfortunately missed that.
Yeah, well, I'll look at the minutes.
Well, you got the tail end of it when we were talking about,
Yeah.
right.
we were talking about the development on the property by you. and-
Brian Oak's property.
Oh, yeah.
And Depot Street. But that's the next big thing coming to Commissioner Eastridge's neighborhood.
Yep, planning commission. After that, we've got city fee schedule resolution for our March 25th city council. Yes.
I'm hoping to have that
Oh,
at least fleshed out to a point where we can pass it and add to it as necessary.
March 25th.
The other thing that, and I'll ask you how you wish to proceed with this, the National Hazards Mitigation Plan that I was part of this last year, updating the countywide, but also has a Monroe specific, has been apparently, it's on the approval desk.
Cool.
At the federal level, which means the next step would be for you folks to adopt it. So as soon as I get the language, I will send it to you. I'm assuming they want it adopted sometime this fiscal cycle, but that's just, I'm not sure this is a resolution yet for this meeting. I think you probably want to take a look at it and discuss it, but there would need to be a resolution to pass it.
Okay.
As it was the last time this was done.
Steve, are we still doing the public hearing for Republic Services, the next city council meeting?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's put it on there.
Okay.
And I'll follow up with Ken.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, because we had that, he came by with the rate, so we probably would want to,
we have to advertise it, don't we?
I think that this should be a public hearing.
We want to do it on a separate,
Would you like
Right,
to do it on a
outside
separate,
of
would you
it?
like to do a special session?
well, I just don't know if we have enough time to get the word out to, I mean, we could do a special.
City council meeting.
No, what are we, 2 weeks to the city council meeting?
Yeah,
What's the deadline? 10 days?
10 days is usually the.
Is it 10 working days?
10 Yeah, it's 10 calendar days,
10 calendar days? Then
and that includes the date that you actually post it. So, but on the other hand, this is, if you had a $6.15 increase in your water bill, I think you'd probably want to have some discussion.
Yeah.
before you-
No, I agree with you.
Well, and also,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
explaining to
definitely.
folks that, you know, basically they can have the same cost, same level of service if they drop down one size on the thing, and they'll have, you know, two more waste bins that they can utilize. And they said that you can, even if you're dividing up your food waste and stuff like that, you can throw that in the green bin and so, I mean, organics.
Get, like, confirmation of what the difference is gonna be between the county and the city, like what's the county paying currently for a similar service?
I think they were paying more, weren't they?
They're paid slightly more. He did,
Even with this increase?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the reason why this service that he's offered is no different than what he's offered in years past. The city council in the past was adamant in not including those services. So everyone else in Corvallis and Benton County has been
Right.
paying for this.
Okay.
But the city councils in the past said no. They did not want to pass the increase. They did not want to have the additional levels of service and pass the increases on. And I think for the population that they were representing at the time, that made sense. Times have changed.
yes, they have.
So did you want a special session with some advanced notice to people, maybe put out in the March utility bill?
Yeah, and I think that they said that they have some sort of leaflet or something that they could give you. that would-
If I could give that one slide with the comparison of the different carts,
Yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna put that on the website or something so people could look
but I
at
could
it.
certainly
Give us
do
stuff to
that
send
in
back.
this month's billing and put it on the website and start letting people know, and then we can schedule a special session perhaps. Or we can do it in April as well, if you wish. I mean, that's,
Yeah, he did say that it has to be everybody that's on the service.
right, it's.
Well, that's, and that's why we want to do that, is because we want to get a consensus, or at least,
Let people know so they have a chance to speak, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if people are really adamantly against it, then, you know, that, we'll take that into account.
Last week of March is spring break, correct?
Right,
Okay.
maybe
So maybe
April.
But so many of
Maybe the
these
first week of
meetings,
April.
you know, there's not many people in the audience and
Your rates are going up 16, that's
We-
$6.15. I think you're gonna fill this place.
What do we think about April 2nd?
That's right after April Fool's Day.
I don't want to have it on April Fool's Day because that's a planning commission meeting.
What is April 2nd?
I can't do Tuesdays. I could do Wednesday. night.
Oh, yeah, April 1st is Easter too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Easter Monday, I guess.
You can certainly have the room full when the library director gives her report and we're talking about the costs of that. That would be that would be interesting. And oh, by the way,
I'm interested to see that report. Have we ever seen one?
it's never, and she looked for it too in her archives and one has never been done,
They've never done
Never, ever.
ever. It's in the IGA,
Well, I mean, it's kind of standard business operating practice. If we
Right.
have that,
No, that's
that,
very
that,
true.
Be accountable and show.
I think there's been some reticence in showing the true numbers of.
Did you say Tuesdays you're available?
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays you're available. What
So-
about? What about April 10th?
10? That's a Sunday.
April,
I'm sorry.
April 10th.
I was looking the wrong month.
Turn our work, is that a work session date? We can turn a work session into.
No, it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. It's just,
All right,
what do we think about that? Would you be available?
Wednesday, yeah, I might be a little bit late, but
I think I can be here.
And you can do Wednesday.
Mhm.
Carrie, are you okay?
Yeah.
I think
I'll
April
try not to be
10th.
late this time.
I paid $35.50 a month for our garbage service for on the bill. Recycle, big bin to recycle, yard debris, the biggest can, and then the smallest garbage can.
Yeah, that's what it looked, sounded like. it was
And
pretty
ours
much
would
that.
be 30, I think they said it would
Service?
be 36 or something.
$35.50 a month. I get paid, I get billed, every other month.
Mhm, so,
Do you
yeah.
get weekly service for all three of those containers, like
$35.50 for, and they pick it up every week.
every week? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they said it would go up to 30. 6 or something. I don't know.
I know that
36 sounds right. yeah.
I used to have one of the 90-gallon.
That would be for the biggest.
Right.
65,
So,
I could
going
go down
down-
to 35, so I barely feel the
Or maybe it's
65
currently
now.
36 and
With the
going down to
the
the middle size.
metal and glass
36.
recycling,
Right.
and once I can add organics, like, so basically it's gonna be a wash for me.
Well, and for, yeah, I know I need all that service, which might be nice garbage night, all the garbage out. Okay, okay,
So April 10th at 6
April
PM.
10th.
We'll do a special session. That should give us
You did
plenty of
start
time.
a $2 fee to, for those who didn't wash out their recycle containers enough.
Oh, yeah, they've had that for a while. They
They
just,
did that $2 fee, and it's like, I clean mine out spotless.
they added that,
For those who don't.
they
Oh.
gave up in Corvallis, that's the, so they just gave up and said, we're just gonna charge you. You can commingle all you wish.
We're gonna watch
You
it
don't
all.
care anymore.
Yeah, okay.
I have to run my glass through the dishwasher.
I rinse mine out too.
To add to the agenda for the city council meeting.
At this point, of course, there's always those last minute things that always seem to
Oh,
pop up.
did we hear anything back on the IGA with the Benton County Sheriff?
Not, he has not presented one to me yet.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just wait then.
Typically, that comes out in the, he typically gives that to me in the first part of April.
Okay.
Makes
That-
sense. When we're getting into.
Well, just know
First
we
part of
approached
April.
the topic
Yeah.
of possibly getting a few more hours for
Right.
traffic specific or.
Well, I guess that ties into my question. Didn't we get approval to go to 25 miles an hour?
Yes, and we're just waiting for ODOT to schedule the signs at this point. That's why it's approved.
It's way too tight for a 30-mile-an-hour zone through there.
Well, and the problem is, they said they're not gonna adjust the,
I thought they're gonna go past the bridge with them.
There is a negotiation right now, and Weldon believes, I love the name Weldon. Weldon believes that by moving the sign, that makes sense to him to move it a little bit.
I mean, if they move the 45, I mean, cause it's already 45 at that curve.
Mhm.
And then basically it turns into 45 right there. Just do 45 right before the curve as opposed to the speed limit. Yeah, and then, basically,
But the 30.
They're already gonna be slowed down.
The main issue is the fact that you don't see that 30 until you're actually.
On the bridge.
right up on
bridge.
it, yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of covered by a couple of poles and stuff.
Sometimes if we turn down Orchard, they come up real quick.
They do.
They do, and it is very quick, and Weldon recognizes that, so we'll see. The major victory, get to 25.
I wish I had a radar gun because there was a semi that went through that I bet he was going 40 all the way through town.
Well, and after that's done, then maybe we can go back to trying to get the school zone thing put
Right,
back in.
it's a,
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, the flashing.
ongoing or flashing things, and also I need to get, we have some paths, crosswalks that are there that really aren't connected to anything across the way. We don't have anything painted. And the ones that aren't painted are supposed to get signs saying this
Right.
crosswalk is closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a loose end.
That needs to be.
Yeah, I identified that, and so they're working on, but I said, look, either you put a sign up or I put a sign up, but
Yeah.
we can't have people thinking that somehow these are real crosswalks.
Are they done with all the curb things, or are they
They're
gonna
done
come
with the
back and,
curbs.
and
No.
tear them all up again and
Well-
redo them because they didn't like them?
Well, I know that. Bank building,
I think
that
so.
corner is, something happened to that corner during all this and it's damaged. The bank building, something happened to the corner when they were fixing the curbs, yeah.
Well, I've actually looked at it and I can't see what they're talking, the corner of the bank building.
The corner of the bank building,
Yeah.
yeah, I think.
And so the argument at this point is that if that damage occurred to a structure, then the person is supposed to fix it and then file a claim with ODOT.
Okay,
And what she's saying, Misty is saying, is that no, you damaged it, you fix it.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be my responsibility.
right. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. Have a good